Welcome to This Week in Baseball Player Profiles as we profile former WSU catcher Tyler Weber. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Thanks, Tana. Appreciate being here.
I appreciate you coming in on today and talking a little bit of baseball. So, growing up, you were a catcher. Did you always want to be a catcher?
You know, I did. At a young age, when real young, I played other positions, short and third, and played first. But as I got older, I just could tell in my personality and being in every play, catcher kept me into it. And so just as I got older, catcher continued to be the position I wanted to play. And I loved every minute of it.
At Goddard, you played at Goddard High School in 4 years varsity, which back in the day when you were playing in that era is pretty impressive. Your team went to state 3 times, but in 04 you guys won state. What was that like?
You know, it was awesome. My high school career in general was a lot of fun. I had some really good coaches. Coach Foltz at Goddard was awesome. I loved working with him. He was a great mentor. As a good friend, I just really enjoyed being around Coach Foltz. And then obviously I played for Mark Staniford with sluggers all through my high school as well. So I had 2 really good coaches that worked with me all through my high school career and different things we got to do. So high school wise, it was awesome. I mean, and we had a ton of talent at that age frame. A lot of my buddies that continued on played afterwards. So those years in high school were an absolute blast. And then yes, my senior year, 2004, we moved up. We were 5A my first 3 years, and then my last year we went to 6A and went to the state championship. And then luckily for me, I got to hit the walk-off home run to win the state championship. So that's a memory I won't forget.
That's something you never forget. That's right there. But you also won the 04 Marine Corps Distinguished Athlete Award. What is that?
Yeah, anytime you win any award, it's a great feeling. But this one was kind of special to me. One, because my junior year in high school, I actually missed my whole junior season at Goddard because I had back issues and I couldn't swing, I couldn't do anything. So looking at that award, and it was something that showed, one, it talked about leadership. It wasn't necessarily just about your play on the field. It was the things that you did outside of it. And so that meant a lot to me that, whether it was leadership or discipline or overcoming obstacles, it was kind of all tied into that award. And so that was personally for me, that was really good after having to miss a very difficult, we had a solid team my junior year as well, and having to sit on the bench or help and watch because I couldn't play was that was great to feel that after my senior year.
That's awesome. So 05 to 08, you go to WSU. What was that feeling like being a hometown kid playing in your hometown ballpark?
Tough to be. Growing up, you always see and hear about Wichita State. You go to the games, you see all the fans, and just the history of Wichita State baseball was, monumental in this area. Everybody knew about it. That was the sport. Basketball wasn't much at that time. So everybody around here, it was Wichita State baseball. That's what you wanted to go do. So that was huge growing up. I had my grandpa's influence. He played football at Nebraska. So I had a huge desire all growing up to go to Nebraska and play some kind of sport. I didn't know it was going to be baseball till later in my life, but I wanted to go to Nebraska. And so I was dead set on going there. I took a visit there, but when everything came down, it was tough to beat the history, the coaching staff, the facilities of Wichita State, and then number one was being able to play in front of my friends and family for the next 4 years. So it was awesome.
While playing there at WSU, you got to play for the legendary Gene Stephenson. What was that like?
Yeah, Gene will go down in the history books of college baseball as one of the best coaches to ever be in college baseball. And so to say that I got to play under that is, awesome. Gene could be a very tough coach to play for. You're doing things his way. But one of the things I will always take with me is Gene was a winner. No matter what it was, he would find a way to win. Didn't matter if you were playing a card game or the infamous Gene Stephenson handshake. He was going to win and beat you to do it because that was just his personality. He was always going to win. So, me looking at that, I remember there might have been kids on the team that they would want to win just to spite Gene because something happened on. But it didn't matter. At the end of the day, the result was you wanted to win. And so he could pull that out of you to be a winner. And so I'll always remember that about Gene.
Well, while at WSU, you were the Rawlings Gold Glove Award winner and a semifinalist for the Bench Award. Looking back on that, how is that? Thinking about it, how do you feel about that?
It's great. As a kid, I grew up going to Johnny Bench award dinners growing up all the time. I was part of Just Block It with Coach Mike Gear. I went to all of his camps every year as a kid. Then as I got into high school, I would go to him and also help. And then after college, I continued to help him with some of those. So the catching and Just Block It and Johnny Bench were always tied together. So as a kid, I always got to go watch. I'll never forget watching Kurt Suzuki win it as I was at one of the Johnny Bench awards. So that award meant a lot to me. And then being able to become a finalist for that was awesome. The Gold Glove, that's still probably one of the coolest awards I've ever won, just because I took a lot of pride in being a catcher and being a good receiver behind the plate. And so going through and winning a national award as a Rawlings Gold Glove, they sent me the big Gold Glove trophy, and it's really cool. And that's a big award that I keep on the top. That I love that.
Well, in the summers when you played in college, I read an article. You won back-to-back titles, champions. You were 0-2 MVP, being the best hitter. What league was that you were playing in that this all occurred?
Yeah, so in 2002, that would have been high school time frame with Coach Staniford, and so we were playing around here, and that was the year that I really took off. Was probably my sophomore summer. I think 2002 would have been my sophomore summer when I went crazy. I was swinging the stick really, really well, and then we played in a big. I think it was in Nashville, Tennessee, at one of the World Series down there. And it was unbelievable. It was a great time. And then we'd always come back and we'd play as a team. We'd play in the NBC tournament here at the World Series. And we were very good at that time. We had a lot of local talent. And it was a blast to be able to do that as a high school kid, go in and play. And then I also played with his Braves team. I'd substitute in and catch. And so it was just a great atmosphere to be around guys at an older age that were in college baseball and playing at high levels. Ryan Beatty's one of my assistant coaches on our 7U baseball team.
The governor.
Yeah, and but he's become a good friend of mine now. But it was great to see, as I was young and in high school, he's a All-American at KU, but I'm getting to play with guys like that in summer ball and in different times. So it was really cool to be able to do that stuff.
Oh, cool. So in college,
did you ever have a nickname? Something I read was they called you a webmaster on one of the articles in ESPN.
I do remember that article. I remember having an interview with the ESPN guys, and I remember I swear he made that nickname up, the webmaster, because I had never heard of that until he made it up. Everybody just called me by my last name as Weber or Webb or whatever, but yeah, I don't know where he pulled that from, but all of a sudden ESPN guys calling me a webmaster. So
you could have said Web Jam or something.
Anything. But that one stuck with him, and so glad it didn't really stick with anybody else. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Going to WSU obviously was the right choice. You moved on. You got drafted by the Tigers in the 30th round. What was that day and feeling like for you?
It goes back to the same thing I talked about earlier as a kid. I got to play at Division I level, one of the best baseball programs in the country. I went to 2 super regionals. One game from the College World Series, that's kind of a sore subject, but they were great experiences to be able to do that. But then the day you get drafted is, as a kid, that's all I could think about was playing professional baseball. I wanted to be a professional baseball player, and that's all my focus was. I wanted to play at that next level. So that was just a dream come true to be able to have that opportunity to go to the next level and compete. College baseball and professional baseball, it's still baseball, but it's 2 different things. You go from, you love the game the whole time, but you go from as a team, you want to win, you go in the College World Series to win. Now you're playing professional baseball, it's a job. And, how do you compete every day for yourself to get to the next level? And so different feeling, different atmosphere, but loved them both and really enjoyed the time I had.
Well, you bring up preparing for stuff every day. How did you prepare for that transition from high school to college? Because I don't care what era it is, what year it is, it's very tough for a freshman to go to a D1 and let alone even go to a JUCO and play. How do you prepare for that?
A lot is mentally. Mentally, you have to be ready because you're walking into a whole different thing where, in high school, I was playing 3 sports. You were doing everything, and I still did baseball year round. I was blessed, luckily enough, that my parents had, room in the back where I had a cage and whatever I needed to work out during high school. But that's not the same when you're playing basketball and football all the way through the year. So you've got to be ready. It's a whole new world. You go to college and you're playing baseball, that's what you're doing. So it's all fall. In the winter, it's weight training, it's agility work, it's whatever, but it's all designed around baseball. So mentally, you got to be prepared for doing all that on top of your schoolwork,
Right.
because it can put a lot on you. So you just got to, one, be mentally ready, and then physically, just as you get older, you start to mature, your body matures, you figure out what you can do, but you got to put the time in. Find time, whether it's working on your drills. I know I do a lot of stuff with 3-1-6 baseball and catching, and I talk to kids all the time about, here's your drills, and I ask every other week, how many of you did your drills? And 1 or 2 kids will raise their hand. But that's where it starts, is, getting in and actually doing the stuff that you're supposed to work on a consistent basis.
Right.
So that leads me into my next one here. Advice for youth players and parents. What do you have for those kids? Because you have those certain parents that are all about winning, and you have some that want to develop kids. What's your advice?
I would say I got 2 points. One would be keep the game fun. So many times, and this is very difficult for me because I'm very competitive. I want to win at anything we do, and I want that for my kids. I have high expectations for my kids, and so we actually have a shop in our backyard where our kids will go out and we'll practice all the time. But I got to a point where I was doing it as a practice, and we started integrating new things. Of every time we'd go out, we'd end with a game or make the drills that I'm working on them with into a game or a competition. Teaching my kids to compete and enjoy competing has been a big transition into how they're just growing. As one players, now they enjoy it. It's not just, let's go out and work on fielding drills, or, they want to do it because they're going to have fun with it. We make and you got to get creative, because sometimes the drills can be monotonous. You're doing them over and over and over. So what do you got to do to change it up?
Right.
Certainly at a young age. The young kids, they got to enjoy it, or else they'll lose that joy early. So make sure they enjoy it. The second point would be, this is more towards parents, would be maybe stay off the internet so much. We get a lot of people that come in now with asking about the newest technique or the newest drill, or I saw somebody doing this, or some bat that's got a rope on it. Should I buy this for my kid? And sometimes we can get so wrapped up into all this stuff. I'll give you an example. I have no idea who this was, but we were walking around. Kids were hitting in the facility the other day, and I heard a dad tell a kid, hey, I know with 2 strikes, I've heard coaches tell you, choke up, get on the plate, but I don't believe in that philosophy. Right there, you're not buying into the program of what we're teaching kids. There's reasons we teach that to kids, or that coach had talked about that. So let the coaching staff do their job and don't try and reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of things that we get data from, or we hear from different coaches that tell us things. And so, there's a lot of information going into these kids, and don't think just because you read it on the internet, it's the next best thing.
Good point.
So high school players, especially the ones that are looking to transition into college here soon, and they want to live, follow in your footsteps. What advice can you give to those guys?
Yeah, right now it's a weird time for high school kids going into the next level. Dealing with COVID and dealing with all the different things that have changed regulations. They got to be tough right now, because opportunities that might have been there a year or 2 ago aren't there. Rosters are full. So, but one of the things that I see now is kids just got to work. They got to get in. They got to get their work in every day. Or you're at the point now at high school where you've been around, you've learned a lot of the coaching, you've learned a lot of drills you can do on your own, but now you have to put that time in. You've got to be committed to go in and, okay, I'm going to get better on X, Y, and Z. This is what I'm focused on today, and actually do it. Not just, come to the 1 hour a week or 2 hour a week with your coaches. We can teach you stuff to do, but you also have to go home and work on it to get better.
You got to implement it into your daily routine.
Yeah.
So
What does Tyler Weber do now?
So now the last 7 years I've been in medical sales. I work in the coronary and peripheral artery disease, and so I sell equipment to different facilities and hospitals all throughout the state of Kansas. And then on the side, I help my wife. She started a 3-1-6 softball this summer, and so I've been trying to help her on nights and stuff. When I'm available, I'll come in and help her run that business. And it's a passion of hers that she's had for a long time. We were blessed enough that she's been able to stay home as our kids have grown up. And now that both our kids are in school all day, this has opened up an opportunity for her to, one, just give back because she was a great player at Wichita State, and now she has that opportunity to give that back. So it's been good that I get to kind of be a part of that with her through that journey.
So
On the nights that you do help, what is that like trying to teach softball? Because you play baseball your whole life, so it's a different. It's the same but different.
That's right.
What is that like for you?
Actually, it's a lot of fun. I've talked to several guys that I've played with, or even all the guys on the baseball side, how much I'm really enjoying the softball side of it, because it is a little bit different. Now, when you go to mechanics, when you're talking about hitting, when you're talking about throwing, fielding a ball, a lot of that stuff, being aggressive on the base runnings, hit your cutoffs, stuff like that is all, it works together. Now, you're on a smaller field, and everything is amplified. It's much quicker. The game moves much faster. I mean, you're talking an hour game and you actually get 7 innings in.
Yeah.
I go to my son's 7U game, and we have an hour time limit, and we get 3 innings in. So it's a quicker game, but I've really come to love the game, and for me, it's totally different working with girls than I've always done working with boys. It's amazing how much, most of the time, they're more attentive and they're ready to learn, and they mature earlier, so it's just a different deal, but I've really, really enjoyed it the last, and I get to do both. So if I'm helping with baseball, catchers, guys, or hitting and softball, so I get to see both sides of it, and it's been a lot of fun.
that's cool.
What do you think the goal, and I know you've probably had conversations with Brittany about this, what is the goal for 316 softball?
That's something that we've talked about for quite a few years, just because she's from Phoenix, Arizona, and grew up in an area that was, you don't play softball just in the fall, or you play it all the time. You're going to California, you're in Arizona, you're playing constantly, but you're being taught very good mechanics, very good concepts of the game at a very young age, and we wanted to be able to bring that back into the Wichita market, where since she has such a passion for that, ever since she quit playing at Wichita State, she's been given pitching lessons or hitting lessons the whole time, or coaching a youth team. So being able to bring that back, we really want to start with the young kids, building that foundation for them, giving them the opportunities to grow, hear from a bunch of different coaches that we brought in that have a lot of extensive knowledge of softball, played at a very high level, coached at a high level, but also what this benefit is now they get to hear from baseball guys in the same concept. So, we can bring a softball girl in that gets to hear from Ryan Beatty or Matt Beatty or, now Brady and Coach C. All different kinds of people are getting to have impacts on them that they wouldn't have had that opportunity. So the goal is just to continue to build and grow. We got a lot of girls there's some talent in Wichita. From everything that we're coming to find out, there's a lot of softball talent around here. A lot of softball talent travels. They'll go down and play in Oklahoma, or they'll go up to Kansas City, just because that's where historically it's very good. Very good ball there, and they have very good programs. So that's why we took the name 316, or Britt wanted to stay with the 316 name, is because it's local. We have a lot of pride in being from Wichita, and we want to build something here that can go rival other competitors that are in Oklahoma or Kansas City, to build that brand of 316.
All right, that is a great concept. That really is, and I think
You guys are going to do it. I really
Well,
do.
thank you.
As the years go on,
Yeah.
we're just going to get better and better.
Yep.
So growing up, who was your favorite major league catcher?
Oh man, so I had 2. As I was young, it was Pudge Rodriguez. I loved watching Pudge as a kid. He was just unbelievable behind the plate. On top of that, he could swing it. My uncle is a diehard Rangers fan, and so I always got Rangers stuff as we were growing up. But Pudge was he was unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure a lot of catchers, that was their number one. He was great to follow. I really enjoyed watching how he received, how he handled the game, his pitching staff. And then as I got older, Pudge, went to retirement. Yadier Molina came in, and he was to the next level on receiving. His game behind the plate was, I don't know if I've seen a catcher that's been better than him behind the plate. His receiving was phenomenal. He had a cannon, so he could throw out anybody, pick guys off. but everything you always heard about him was how he could handle a pitching staff.
Right.
As a catcher, that's how you know you're doing a good job, is if you can control the game, call a good game, work with your pitchers, understand what their strengths and weaknesses are. That's what I really liked watching about them.
There's no better sign or tell than just what happened in the major leagues with Yu Darvish being traded. He wanted his catcher to be in the trade too, or he wasn't going to be traded.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, look at Doug Marabelli. I mean, made a huge career, obviously, but with
Tim Wakefield, he's the only guy who could catch Tim Wakefield.
Right.
So the guy had a huge career following around Tim Wakefield, who was best knuckleball pitcher ever.
Eddie Perez always
great.
caught Greg Maddux
Yeah.
for the Braves. Yep.
Yep.
And a quick Pudge Rodriguez little story. Scott Taylor,
Oh, yeah.
who played for the Braves and the Rangers.
Yep.
We have a picture of him in the hallway, and he was telling me a story one day because it's him and Pudge together. I go, "What is Pudge saying to you?" "You throw what I call rook." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I must have just gave up a home run." I struck him off and gave up a home run.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love Scott. He actually used to come out and work with us, my youth team when we were younger. He'd come out and work with all of our pitchers, and so, yeah, no, Scott's a great dude.
Great dude. Great dude.
So, debate time. All-decade team. Who wins?
Oh man, I have all the respect for the young guys, I guess, since I'm now an older guy in that decade deal. But I don't think it'd be a contest. I think our 2010 team was loaded, and obviously those are a lot of those guys I played with at college. Then even played with. I mean, Andy Dirks and we played some all growing up, and then we played in the Tigers organization together. We played at Wichita State together. It was just. I don't know. There's a lot of names in there that, good luck getting a hit for one. I mean, you go down the line from Pelfrey to Banward to Bohannon to guys that, good luck.
It is a solid group, I will tell you that.
Pretty good talent.
Yeah, you can put that all-decade team against anybody's all-decade team, I bet. So, if you faced your wife, what would be the outcome?
In college we had an opportunity where Coach Pernicero let Brittany and I on the softball field, because we always had this discussion of, could I hit softball or can she strike me out? And we never did it as in like a game situation to where I had to count or whatever, but she just wanted to pitch to me and I wanted to see it. Right off the bat, it's obvious it's a big change. They're a lot closer, the ball gets on you quick. Now you figure all that stuff out through timing, but it gets on you very quick. The pitch I had the hardest time with is a rise ball. I mean, you don't see that in baseball. The ball that's coming up, when everything we've ever been taught, the ball's on a downward plane, whether it's slide or curveball. So when she would throw a curveball or a screwball or a drop ball, those are all pitches that I have not necessarily seen from softball, but movement-wise, they're doing the same thing I'm very used to. So I could have some success, and I might have went deep on her a couple times. But you bring in the rise ball, and it just changes the game. The only person I can relate that to is hitting off Ian Kennedy, who obviously has had a major career in the big leagues. They came here and at Wichita State, and his is the only fastball I've ever seen that I thought rose. It was just amazing. But taking that compared to a softball rise ball is not even close. So it'd be interesting. We might have to do it again.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. So before we conclude the show, is there any additional comments that you can give out to players, parents, anything?
Enjoy the game. I know I said that a little bit earlier, but have a lot of fun with it. Play multiple sports. Don't think that at this age, we just had a talk the other night where all of us coaches got to hear from a Division I baseball coach. And actually with 316, they do a lot of that, where they coach the coach. We have different coaches come in. And all of them have said they really, really love multi-sport athletes. So don't feel like at this age, at 10 years old, you got to decide that my kid's going to be a big leaguer and he's only going to play baseball. Play all the different sports. Get in, build your athleticism, learn how to play different sports, at different agility type things. Enjoy that. There's so much you can learn from sports, whether it's, I take as much of what I do now in sales, I learned in sports. How do you overcome failure? In sales, you're going to fail all the time. So do you just get down on yourself or do you overcome it? Huge in baseball, right? One of the best sports to be able to learn that from. So, enjoy sports. use them. I think there's so much more benefit than just watching a kid go play out on a weekend, but they can gain so much from that. So enjoy the time, play as many sports as you can, be involved in your kids' lives, and it's great.
Well,
Tyler, you gave out a lot of great advice today, and I do appreciate you taking the time and doing so. I wish you and Brittany the best on the 316 softball side. I think you guys are going to be very, very successful.
Thank you. I appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you having me on, and then keep this rolling for all the baseball and softball people that want to keep seeing this going on. This is good stuff.
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tono.
That concludes this week in Baseball Player Profiles. I want to thank BG Studios for hosting the show. I want to thank 316 Baseball for being our today's sponsor. Thank you. Until next week.